Hello everyone, and welcome to your first mini lesson focusing on writing the Japanese language. Today we are going to begin learning about hiragana. One thing you should know is that in Japanese there are actually three writing systems or alphabets: hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Kanji are Chinese characters used to write the Japanese language. Before hiragana and katakana existed, Japanese was written entirely with kanji. Hiragana and katakana are both adapted from kanji. Hiragana and katakana are both phonetical, meaning that each character in the hiragana and katakana writing systems represents a sound. Kanji are ideographical, meaning that each kanji represents a concept, an idea, or an object. Hiragana and katakana, with very few exceptions, will be pronounced the same way every time you see them written, but a kanji can have several different pronunciations depending on context. Kanji and hiragana are both primarily used to write Japanese. Oftentimes, Japanese is written with a combination of kanji and hiragana. On the other hand, katakana are usually used to write non-Japanese words and to write sound effects, for example, in comics. And finally, the size of each of these alphabets. Hiragana and katakana each only have 46 characters total, whereas there are over 2,000 kanji in common use in Japan and thousands more that are used much more rarely. Because of the size of the kanji alphabet and the complexity of kanji, we will not get into kanji writing in these classes. However, we will cover hiragana and katakana. So to begin with, we are going to learn our first 5 hiragana, the basic vowel sounds. First up, we have a. And please feel free to pause this video at any time to get a better look at these hiragana. One more time, this is a. Now, when we get into writing the Japanese language, we have to focus on something called stroke order. Basically, in Japanese, for every character, whether it's a hiragana, a katakana, or a kanji, there is a correct and appropriate order in which to write these characters. So, let's look at the stroke order for a. Our first stroke is a horizontal, slightly curved line written from left to right. Next, we have a vertical, slightly curved line written from top to bottom that intersects with our first line. And finally, we make our little loop-de-loop that intersects with our vertical line at 2 different points. Our next hiragana is I. I. Our stroke order for I begins with a vertical, slightly curved line. We come from top to bottom and then curl back up just a little bit. Then we have another shorter vertical line, also written from top to bottom. Our next hiragana is U. U. To write this hiragana, we start with a short line going from left to right. And then under that, we draw our curve. And next we have E. E. When we write this hiragana, we start pretty much the same way as with U. We have our short horizontal line going from left to right. And then we follow that up with a pretty long stroke. We go left to right underneath that first line, and then we make almost a cursive H. And our last hiragana for today, O. O. So to write O, again, we start off with a short horizontal line going left to right. Our second stroke starts as a vertical stroke going from top to bottom. It intersects with that first stroke, and then it loops around and intersects with itself before finally curving around and slightly up. And finally, we have one small line to the upper right. Alright, so now that we've learned our first 5 hiragana, let's try spelling a few Japanese words. I'm going to show a Japanese word on the screen with its English translation, and I want you to try and use those first 5 hiragana you've learned to spell that word in hiragana. Now, feel free to pause to write this stuff down, to go back over the hiragana that we've learned. I know we went through it pretty fast. Oh, that's the great thing about a video format. You can go back and watch through it again. Without further ado, we are going to go on to our first word. We have the Japanese word ai, which means love. So take a look at this, think about what hiragana would spell out this word, and try to write it down. And here it is, I. We have a, I, I. Were you able to get it? All right, let's move on to our next one. Ue, which means above. Ue. And here it is in hiragana. We have u and e. Ue. Iu, to say. Iu. And here it is in hiragana. I and u. Iu. And our last one, aoi, blue. Aoi. And here's the hiragana writing. We have a, o, and I. Aoi. A, o, I. Aoi. And that's the end of this lesson. Good job, everybody. Take some time to practice these hiragana at home. You can go through the video again and try writing them freehand, or you can go to the hiragana writing practice sheets linked in the description. The first sheet is going to go over these first 5 hiragana again. All right, everyone, have a great day. Ja, mata.